How could I have anticipated that the experience awaiting me would alter my life in ways I had never imagined? It began as an ordinary day. Nothing seemed unusual until I entered that room. The door was slightly ajar, and the instant I saw it, something within me shifted. In that very moment, I could have turned back, pretended I hadn't noticed, and walked away, but I didn't, because the second I realized what I was witnessing, I understood nothing would ever be the same again. It all started on a quiet afternoon when David was out working, leaving the house airless. Still, the only sound came from upstairs, a faint noise drawing my attention like a magnet. At first I assumed it was Ryan in his room, lost in thought as usual. Perhaps he needed a drink or some conversation. So I decided to check on him. As I ascended the stairs, curiosity nodded at me. When I reached his room, I noticed that the door was slightly open. I paused briefly, took a deep breath, and was about to call out when I saw him sat on his bed with his laptop resting on his lap, its glow illuminating his face while his hands darted across the keys. For a brief moment, I thought he might be watching a movie, something thrilling, feeling like an action flick. However, as I moved closer, a sinking feeling settled in my stomach. That's when I fully grasped what Ryan was doing. The reflection on the screen hit like a cold wave, draining all color from my face. Ryan quickly attempted to compose himself, lowering the volume on his laptop, but it was already too late. The damage was done. The second our eyes met, his cheeks flushed crimson, revealing his name. "I'm sorry," he stammered, averting his gaze. I stood rooted to the spot, unsure of how to respond. Words escaped me as conflicting emotions surged through me: shock, embarrassment, and something deeper, something I couldn't yet define without another word. I fled, retreating to the safety of my room. But even after closing the door behind me, the image lingered in my mind, haunting me. What had I just witnessed, and why did it stir something within me that I'd buried long ago? The following days were filled with awkward silences and uneasy glances. Dinner became a silent affair of clinking of utensils against plates, filling the otherwise deafening quiet. Both Ryan and I avoided each other whenever possible, exchanging only fleeting looks and nods. Every time our eyes met, the memory of that moment threatened to resurface, making us both uncomfortable. One afternoon, Ryan finally broke the tension. He sat down beside me on the couch, his expression hesitant but determined. "Claire, regarding the other day, I'm deeply embarrassed. I never intended for things to unfold this way. Please not let this ruin what we have," he confessed, his voice unsteady yet earnest, taking a steadying breath. "I responded gently, Ryan. Believe me, I've experienced my fair share of embarrassing moments," offering him a small, reassuring smile. His expression softened slightly, though I sensed there was more beneath us. First, with a soft chuckle, he lowered his gaze and remarked, "I suppose we've no confusion clouded my thoughts." "What do you mean?" I asked, curiosity. For a moment, his demeanor shifted, realizing he may have revealed too much. Rubbing the back of his neck, he hesitated before murmuring almost inaudibly, "I've seen you in a similar light. You just didn't know about it." Ackle ran down my spine as the weight of his admission struck what I whispered, barely able to process his words. His face leaned further as he continued, "I never told you because I was too ashamed, but it stayed with me. It was me secret and memory I couldn't erase." An inexplicable warmth spread throughout me, stirring emotions I couldn't name. His confession did more than expose a hidden truth. It shattered any remaining barriers between us as our gazes locked. Everything began to go live. From that point forward, the dynamic between us shifted dramatically. No longer separated by invisible walls, we found ourselves drawn closer, sharing moments that seemed trivial on the surface but carried layers of meaning beneath. Movies became a new ritual, bringing us nearer to despite them unresolved feelings lingering between us. There were times when accidental touches, his arm brushing against mine or our hands grazing, ignited sensations deep within me, unsettling yet undeniable. Though I pushed these feelings aside, pretending they didn't matter, they persisted, growing stronger with every passing day. One restless night's sleep eluded my mind, fixated on one person, Ryan. If he harbored feelings for me and needed to confront them before matters escalated beyond repair. Driven by this resolve, I rose from bed, my heart thundering in my chest, and made my way to his room. Finding his door slightly open, I peeked inside. Instead of focusing on him, something unexpected caught my attention. Pausing mid-step, I grappled with conflicting emotions before retreating quietly to my own room, yet everything felt altered. Life unfolded unpredictably after that night. Despite my best efforts to suppress the connection forming between Ryan and me, it only grew stronger. Days turned into weeks, blurring lines separating right from wrong. Then came the fateful evening when Alex arrived home, unexpectedly stumbled in through the door in a state of intoxication. Objects crashed to the floor as he navigated clumsily, their sounds loud enough To awaken David though I knew he slept thievery. Acting swiftly, I exited my room and confronted Lux standing before him. I noted his unfocused eyes and the faint grin playing on his lips. "Are you real?" he slurred, his words distorted by alcohol. "But, Carrie-Ingen." Unexpected sincerity summoning my courage, I grasped at his arm firmly. "Alex, come in, you can't climb the stairs in this condition, we need to stay quiet," instructed, guiding him toward the kitchen, hoping to help him sober up. It prepared coffee, yet his unwavering Gazine's cryptic remarks unraveled something within. Me sitting at the kitchen table, Lex watched mightily. At one point the cup slipped from his grasp, spilling its contents on a thick counter. "Careful, Alex," I cautioned, rushing to clean up, but his drunken smirk returned. "Have you always been this kind-hearted?" he teased, lightly, realizing time was running short. We couldn't risk waking David. I ushered him upstairs cautiously. Upon entering his room, Alex's movements grew increasingly erratic, struggling to undress her required distance as my fingers brushed against buttons of his shirt. The tension between us beckoned up a pull. The air grew thick, charged with unspoken dice. Pausing mid-action, Alex met my gaze, his intensity mestal. "I won't pretend anymore," Clay declared softly yet resolutely. My heart raced as I absorbed its meaning. "Do you remember?" he pressed his tone deepening. "We crossed boundaries once and you haven't forgotten." Overcome with emotion, I stepped back instinctively. "This isn't appropriate," it protested weakly, though my voice betrayed unsteady. Alex's smile faltered slightly, lacking innocence to abandon pretense. "Long ago, Claire, stop denying the truth." Gradually he closed the distance between us until his presence loomed over me, reaching out his fingers traced on my cheek tenderly. Unable to resist, I leaned into his stick. Deep down, I acknowledged the truth in his words before either of us could retreat. Our lips met in a kiss brimming with pent-up passion, every ounce of restraint dissolved in that instant, leaving behind pure raw emotion. Trembling, I allowed myself to surrender, fully sliding the straps of my dress off my shoulders. I whispered, "You're right, Alex, let's stop fighting this." Lying back in the bed, I embraced the inevitable, knowing there was no turning back. Alex hovered above me, his voice soothing. "Don't fear this moment. Everything is as it should be." Though initially hesitant, I admitted my apprehension. "I'm scared," I confessed it stiffly, ignoring my trepidation. Alex reassured me with gentle words, ensuring our actions remained discreet. Together, we navigated the storm of emotions sweeping through us, finding solace in each other's storms. Reality eventually crept back and forcing us to confront the implications of our actions. Guilt gnawed at me, especially knowing that David trusted me completely. How could I betray him like this? Yet every time I looked at Ryan, the guilt faded, replaced by a yearning. I golden Tigner, our secretly easing continued in stolen moments hidden behind closed doors and whispered promises. We lived in constant fear of discovery, always aware that one wrong move could shatter everything. Despite the risk, neither of us wanted to walk away, not yet at least. Then came the fateful evening when James returned home unexpectedly, walking in on Ryan and me in a compromised potion. His face went pale, shock quickly giving way to anger and betrayal. Without saying a word, James grabbed his keys and stormed out, leaving stunned and heartbroken. Over the following days, guilt gnawed at me, especially knowing that David trusted me completely. How could I betray him like this? Yet every time I looked at Ryan, the guilt faded, replaced by a yearning. I golden Tigner, despite the risks, our bond grew stronger. Life doesn't stop for anyone, no matter how much we wish it would. As time passed, we navigated the complexities of our relationship, learning to navigate the guilt and uncertainty that came with it. Would we ever find true happiness together? Only time would tell, but for now we chose to live in the present, cherishing each moment and embracing the unknown future ahead. That night, I had no idea just how much more complicated things would beckon. No matter what I did, the connection with Alex grew stronger with each passing day, blurring the lines between us. Eventually, David would find out everything. This story wasn't over yet. Please remember to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more captivating content. As the days turned into weeks, the intensity of our bond deepened. Each stolen glance, each sure touch brought us closer, while simultaneously pulling us farther from the lives we once seen. There were moments when guilt reared its head, whispering reminders of the path we had strayed from, but those whispers were drowned out by the overwhelming pull we felt toward Oniniver. One evening, as we lay entwined, Alex gazed at me with an expression that spoke volumes. "Do you ever think about what happens next?" he asked, his voice tinged with vulnerability. "I try not to. I admitted, honestly, thinking too far ahead feels dangerous." He nodded, understanding the sentiment. "But maybe it's worth considering. Maybe we owe it to ourselves and to David to figure out where this goes." His words struck a chord within me. Was he right? Could we continue living in secrecy, or would the truth inevitably catch up with us? These questions haunted me long after. Fell asleep, leaving me staring at the ceiling and wondering if I had the strength to face whatever lay ahead. Weeks later, the inevitable happened. David discovered our secret during a heated argument over unrelated matters. The moment his eyes met mine, I saw the pain reflected there, a pain I had caused. He left shortly afterward, moving out without another word. The silence that followed was deafening, forcing Rihanna and me to confront the reality of our choices. For a while, guilt consumed me, questioned whether the connection we shared was worth the ghost. Yet despite the turmoil, I couldn't deny the depth of my feelings for Rian. We were perfect and the road ahead promised challenges, but I knew one thing for certain. I didn't want to lose him. Together, we faced the consequence of our actions, rebuilding our lives amidst the wreckage. It wasn't easy, but perhaps that was the point. Love, lust, and regret intertwined in ways that defied logic, leaving scars and lessons that shaped who I became. And so our story continued, not as tidy narrative we might have hoped for, but as something messy, imperfect, and undeniably human.